If you're jumping into Marathon and you've never played an extraction shooter before, there are a few things you should focus on immediately if you want to progress faster than everyone else. Most new players waste their early runs grabbing random loot and losing gear. But if you focus on the right upgrades, the right shells, and the right weapons, you'll build your vault much faster and survive more runs. So in this guide, I'm going to break down 5 things you should prioritize on day 1. The best team compositions, the most important faction perks, the weapons worth chasing early on, what new players need to understand about this genre, and finally the most important, loot priorities. Let's start with something that will decide whether your team survives fights or wipes. In Marathon, you play as a runner and you're neuro-linked to a shell, which is basically your class. Every shell has its strengths, but I think 2 shells are going to form the backbone of most teams early on. The first is Recon. Recon gives your team information, scans, and the ability to identify enemy positions before they even see you. Information wins fights and extraction shooters. The more awareness your team has, the less likely you are to walk into an ambush. If you played Apex Legends, think of Recon like Bloodhound. The second shell, I think will be just as important, is Triage. Triage can revive both teammates at the same time and deploy healing drones that sustain the entire team during fights. Even better, when Triage uses a healing consumable, the whole squad benefits. Again, using Apex as an example, think of Triage like Lifeline. Your third slot can really be whatever fits your playstyle, but I personally think Destroyer is a strong contender. Destroyer has tools for offense, defense, and mobility. It can block damage, cross dangerous areas quickly, and deal with large PvE enemy groups. It also has a riot shield that allows you to go to third person, which is incredibly powerful in a first-person shooter. Because of that versatility, it feels like a bit of a Swiss Army knife right now. Rook acts as your recovery character. In extraction shooters, you're going to have bad runs where you lose gear. Rook exists to help you rebuild. As you upgrade Rook through factions, you can start runs with things like credits, a blue backpack, healing items, shield charges, increased chances of finding material that you need for upgrades, a shotgun, and some even allow him to start with runner cores, improved extraction abilities. I think a big strategy would be spawn in, loot lightly, extract early, then store those items in your vaults for when you're playing with your team. Now your other shells always have gear available. A lot of experienced extraction shooters treat recovery characters like an economic engine, and Rook fills that role perfectly. Now let's talk about faction progression. Some faction upgrades are far more valuable earlier than others. My personal priority order would be Cyber Acme first, Midas second, Arachne third, Nucal fourth, Traxxas fifth, and last, Sakaguchi. Cyber Acme is extremely important because it improves your heat system. Heat controls sprinting, sliding, melee attacks, and aggressive movement. Cyber Acme upgrades improve how quickly heat begins recovering and how fast it fills. Movement and stamina are incredibly important in fights. Cyber Acme also improves Rook runs, which makes rebuilding your vault much easier. Remember, that's the first one because most perks can be unlocked or upgraded via credits, where the other factions will need in-game material. Next, I would prioritize Mida. Mida has a perk called Agility, which increases your strafe speed and base jump height. That may sound small, but any movement advantage in Bungie shooters are huge. If you played Destiny 2, you already know how powerful good movement can be in PvP fights. Third is Arachne, which I consider the PvP faction. It includes things like increased melee damage, shield siphon when finishing enemies, faster revive speeds, combat heat reductions. Close range fights are extremely common in Marathon, so these perks can make a huge difference. After that comes Nucal, which can give you free healing and shields over time every day. Then Traxxas, which mainly focuses on armory upgrades like weapon mods and weapons to buy. And finally Sakaguchi, which appears to focus more on endgame ability improvements. Now let's talk about the weapons worth chasing early on. You want weapons that perform well in both PvE and PvP, because that gives you flexibility during runs. Two of the best all-around weapons right now are the Bully SMG and the Battle Rifle. The Bully SMG is excellent in close fights and melts enemies quickly. The Battle Rifle is extremely versatile and handles mid-range engagements very well. Two strong weapon pairings I recommend are any sniper or long-range weapon with a Bully SMG. Get long-range picks and still dominate close fights. The best sniper currently looks like it is Outlander, which hits a bit harder, but it is rarer. The second loadout is a battle rifle, or the Magnum, which functions exactly the same as a hand cannon, and a shotgun. Shotguns are extremely strong in PvP, especially in close engagements. The best shotgun right now appears to be the Miss Raya shotgun. Volt weapons are also very useful because they shred shields quickly, similar to Disruptor-style weapons in Apex, which I think their stonks will increase as people get more shields and have better endgame builds. And personally, one of my favorite ranged weapons so far is the Twin Tap. Auto rifles are usable, but if you are prepared, I would rather use an LMG. Now let's talk about something important. This game is called Marathon, not Sprint. Early on, you will feel weak. You will feel like progression is slow. But if you already played Destiny, you already understand that grind. Marathon is also a tactical game. You need to think about when to take fights, when to disengage, when to spend ammo, and where to risk your gear. If you want constant respawns and endless action, this probably isn't the game for you, and that's okay. But if you enjoy high-stakes gameplay where every fight matters, extraction shooters can be incredibly exciting. Think of Marathon like a PvP, PvE roguelike. If you extract with the gear, your next run starts stronger. Battle Royales reset every match, but you don't have the chance to come back stronger the next match. Extraction shooters reward smart, slow, patient progression. Loot priorities. Finally, let's talk about what you should actually extract with. When you're playing Rook, your goal is building your vault, and when you are waiting for the perks that allow you to have great items on spawn where you can just run in and extract with it, you should be looking for ammo, heals, weapons, and materials used for permanent upgrades. Remember, when you track them, they appear in the world with a little eyeball icon, so you know that they're important when you're looking at them in a loot bin or a player's body. That makes looting much more efficient. A lot of teams lose fights simply because they run out of sustain during long engagements. Everything you extract should make your next run stronger. Build your vault first, then start risking bigger gear later. Good luck in your runs.